To another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, Chad Porto, and joining me is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Marcus, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. It's Tuesday. It's more wrestling talk. Let's do it.
We got so much wrestling talk, and not a lot of it's good. So, like last week, we're gonna hit the news, then we're gonna do making an impact, then we're gonna do our lucha look back. It's going to be fun, except for the first part. So, we got to get to the first story. It sucks. Don Morocco, who apparently has a podcast, that itself is newsworthy. He kind of came out and said that Terry Funk has dementia. I know a lot of people are going to make jokes about how, well, he's getting hit in the head for 40, 50, 60 years. Of course he has dementia. And that's not it. Like, no. This is just something that happens, and that's the worst part. As a person whose grandparent has dementia and is around the same age as Terry Funk, like, this shit sneaks up on you. I mean, it doesn't really sneak up on you, but there's no real way to know. It just kind of happens one day, and you start to realize what's actually happening. Morocco said, "I heard that Funk is in a home and disabled for dementia." Yeah, I spoke with Scott Casey over the weekend. I guess he's driving to Amarillo. He's driving all the way down to Amarillo, so I don't know. I know his wife passed away 2 or 3 years ago. I think his daughter's there. He had that ranch down there, and I don't know who he's with or what's going on. The Double Cross Ranch, I believe, is the name of his ranch. According to PW Insider, or I'm sorry, WrestleZone, Funk has also been suffering from hip issues. Dustin Rhodes asked for fans to send prayers Funk's way, noting that he was in a lot of pain and could use some words of encouragement. Rhodes later clarified that Funk was dealing with hip issues and that he was a tough son of a bitch. The one joke that I will allow is everyone's like, Terry Funk has dementia. Guess dementia's finally losing. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Funk's pretty awesome. But from the official Terry Funk Twitter account, they go on to say, I don't know who's posting this for him, but yes, Mr. Funk is currently residing in a residential care for his multiple health issues, which do affect his mind and as well as the rest of his body. As you can imagine, some days are better than others. He and his family appreciate all of your kind words forever. So, Marcus, one, feelings and thoughts on Terry Funk and his dementia diagnosis, and two, when do you think the last time Terry Funk wrestled was? Let's start with the first one.
No, man, it sucks. Terry was, well, Mr. Funk was, before my time, but he's an absolute legend. I've gotten, of course, to go back and watch a lot of his stuff. He was an absolute legend without question. And as somebody who takes care of his, um, elderly mother, while she, I'm thankful she, doesn't have anything as severe as that. Just watching somebody get older, you kind of see what, just what life throws at aging individuals, and it's just not fun, to watch somebody to go through any of that type of deterioration as they get older. So man, just God bless them. Like you said, just hats off and good vibes and energy to his family, and it sucks. It sucks specifically when it kind of comes out of nowhere. Obviously, I would imagine some certain people wanted to kind of keep it under wraps, and I don't think the guy that put it out had any ill intent. So
No, Don Morocco is a former, I don't know if colleague is the right word, but they're around the same age. Morocco was big in the late 70s. He was the original Rock, by the way. Kind of little fun factoid. It's like way
right.
before Dwayne Johnson was even anything more than a glint in his father's eye is Don the Rock Morocco.
uh, that glint is huge now. But literally, uh,
Rippling veins and biceps, man.
Jesus,
Rippling.
can you look? Is it legal for this man to get any more muscles? Literally.
I don't know, but he's going to test that law.
Oh, that Black Adam trailer is gonna be sick. But yeah, it just sucks, man. I just it's just one of them things you never see that type of stuff coming. Dementia, um, and Alzheimer's and stuff like that, man. It's the worst. and I don't really wish that type of stuff on nobody because you get trapped. You kind of see your stuff kind of go away before your eyes, and like cancer, it's like it's not what it does to you, it's like what it does to the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
That line, so it sucks for real, man. But just all you can do is just like I said, send good vibes, prayers, and whatever else good energy people got. Is for the second part. Was the last time I think he wrestled? I want to say maybe mid to later 2000s, something like that.
So you're being kind of vague. I need more of a specific year.
Let's see. Give me 2009.
Marcus, he wrestled 0 times in 2009. But his last 2 matches came just 4 years ago at the ripe old age of 75 for Big Japan, Big Time Wrestling, which I think is out of Japan, I think? No, it's out of Carolina. So he was 75 years old in 2017, his last 2 matches. They were right after each other. They were both TV shows. The 2 matches, I think, involved the same people. Jerry Lawler and his son Brian Christopher and Doug Gilbert took on the Rock and Roll Express and Terry Funk in both bouts. The good guys, Rock and Roll Express and Funk, won both bouts. So there you go. Yeah, 75 years old, still wrestled. Man, it was crazy. It is crazy. So yeah, he even did a tour. I shouldn't say a tour. He did a match for All Japan in 2013, and he wrestled for New Japan in 2010.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was when he was 67
Yeah, he's of that. I guess
and
he's of that
70.
flair. That I guess he's of that that flair elk. It was like you should not be able to do this.
Nope. And yet he did. He even wrestled in TNA for 2 matches back in '04.
Yeah, I think that's why I was thinking of those mid to later 2000s because I'm pretty sure Terry Funk came through at TNA.
He even had 2 matches in WWE in '06. I forgot about that. He had the tag team match with Dreamer versus Edge and Lita. Or Edge and Orton? Who is it? It was Dreamer and Funk versus Mick Foley and Edge. And then he was involved in a 20-man battle royal on the first ever episode. No, I'm sorry. In a 20-man battle royal on the WWE versus ECW head-to-head Raw. I think it was Raw. Maybe it was that Dumb Tuesday show. Hang on. Let me double check. By the by, for anyone who cares, I have Kesha stuck in my head, so today's hell.
Wow. That's a name you don't hear much.
Yep. All right, so it was a Wednesday show on USA Network. That's what it was. So Funk had 2 matches in '06, but we still have some more depressing and disappointing news. So Jimmy Uso was arrested on July 5th, so yesterday morning, for having a blood alcohol content of 0.205. So for anyone who doesn't understand what 0.205 means, that's essentially a percentage of your bloodstream. And I think it kind of boils out to about 20% of his bloodstream was alcohol saturated. Like you die at like 0.3. So Jimmy's got some issues. And this isn't even the first time either. This is his 3rd time in a year and a half. Clearly, he's got something going on in his life he needs to deal with. Is this Naomi's husband, or is that the other one?
You say this is Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Naomi's husband.
Oh, that's no good, because he's got 2 kids then from a prior relationship that I remember.
Yeah, and he's married to her.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting. I think this is you say his 3rd time this year.
No, 3rd time in the last 18 months. His first was in July of 2019. That was the one where he got pulled over for going the wrong way down a one-way street. And like the cop and him got into that confrontation. At least I think that's the incident. I think Jimmy had an incident. I don't remember. Or maybe I'm thinking of Jay's incident from Detroit. God damn it, these 2 motherfuckers need to stop getting into disputes with cops when they're drunk. Fuck. This is hard to keep track of, man. All right, let's see what it says here. Jimmy Uso has been arrested multiple times in the past several years due to alcohol-related incidents. Uso was most recently arrested for drunk driving in July of 2019, also charged with a DUI in Pensacola. Prior to that, he was arrested in Detroit for a drunken dispute with a police officer and was charged with disorderly conduct and obstruction. Oh, correction. This is his fourth arrest. And was also arrested in 2011 for a DUI.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This was his third of the last, like you said, 18 months and fourth overall.
Mm-hmm.
So it's straight quattro out here.
Straight quattro. Mark, if you had said straight queso, I would have been so hungry. And now I did, so now I'm hungry. Straight queso in this baby.
But it's not good, man. You can't definitely couldn't be the head of the table because you're too busy trying to drink someone under it. And you and your brother are basically tied into the main storyline of SmackDown. Certainly at this point, you look at the overall landscape of the company, basically the main storyline of the damn company. Because Raw would have to be better to be trash. Jeez. But it's like, who did y'all got Berlanti on the creative team?
Just repeating the same shit over and over again. I knew where you
Uh,
were going. Same mind.
yeah.
Same mind.
But yeah, it's bad, man, and it sucks. And we talked about this extensively before when he got caught, and definitely definitely know your stance on it. I detest it as well because family friend got hit by head on collision and it took a whole family out. So it's like I don't know, man. His fourth infraction. Like you said, he's a husband, he's a father. Um, there's only so much you can let this kind of stuff slide on both ends, both from a personal perspective and definitely from a professional standpoint. I feel like how many times have we had to go through this talking about either one of the Hardy brothers or
Mm-hmm.
Angle for years, and
Mm-hmm.
they almost didn't make it in several instances. So overall, man, like this thing, I know I brought up the whole in-ring thing, but this is really a personal thing that he needs to get together for his overall life quality. You
If
know,
the WWE doesn't send him to rehab and like demand that he go, like flat out, if you don't go to rehab for 90 days, you do not have a job.
yeah,
Now, that's the one advantage that as an independent contractor without a union that they can do. They can force his hand because they can terminate his contract at any given point in time. And in a lot of states, if you have an alcohol addiction, you cannot be fired for it. I don't like that law. I think that's a dumb law. But at a certain point, Jimmy needs to get the help he needs. And Param Jitsu said something on Twitter that I absolutely agree with. People were rushing to give Jeff Hardy 1,000 chances, but what Jay? And I don't want, or no, they said something like they were rushing to defend Jeff Hardy for all of his infractions, but they want Jay thrown in jail for the rest of his life. I don't want that. I'm a teetotaler. I don't do alcohol. I don't do drugs. I'm a pretty clean cut. Don't laugh, Marcus. But I'm a kind of a white bread guy. You can't tell us apart, so you don't get to laugh.
no, I thought you was about to say that se word. So I'm glad you went the
Oh,
other direction.
I guess technically I'm straight edge, like technically if you want to go into it, but like straight edge also has like a lot of roots in white supremacy. Like I'm not one of those dudes like, oh, everything's white supremacy. I'm not. But I
Yeah.
mean it. Like I came from the underground hardcore scene. Like I know what that scene was.
Yeah. Me and Chad walking to a bar like, no, man, we'll just have a water and a root beer. Like, oh, you guys are straight edge. Like, oh, that's what you want to call it. Personally, that has a little too much Corey Graves in it for us.
Yeah, no, we're teetotalers. We object to the moral relevancy of alcohol and drugs, but we heard you have some dope ass wings, and we don't have any problem with deep fried fat. So like, 12 a piece, please, to start. Don't you give me any of that hot shit bullshit. I want the flavor, not the heat.
Nice.
Thank you. There's a part of me that's really mad because, like you said, like you and I have both been affected by drunk driving. I detest people who do it because it's so easy to avoid. It's hubris and it's just arrogance for why anyone would think they can drink at any amount and then be cohesive enough to drive. Like I don't get that coherent enough to drive. It smacks of just disrespect, and you know me, like that's my whole shtick. Like, it's not a shtick, but it's my whole thing in life. Like I don't care what it is you think or do or want to do or believe or what you don't believe, as long as what you do and think and believe and how you act isn't a direct affront to somebody else. You know, like that's always been my whole shtick. Like I don't need to agree with certain lifestyles as long as you're not being rude about it, and as long as people aren't being rude to you about it. It's okay to disagree. The issue comes when we start taking it more than just disagreeing. So when I look at things like with Jimmy getting arrested yet again for a DUI, it's not so much that I'm mad or angry at him per se. It's the environment that has fostered this ability for him to do this so many damn times. He has a problem. This isn't a debate. I think I said this last time. I think I said this the second time. Marcus, do you know how many times I've been arrested for a DUI? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a Z, and the other three letters are arrow. It's not hard not to get a DUI, folks. Like it's not. If you drink to excess every time you drink or when you go out, you have a problem. And the problem is, Mark, is like we see it all these times with these Facebook moms. They're like, you know, one glass of wine with dinner is not bad, and one bottle of wine with dinner is just how you get through a day with kids. No, that means you're a bad parent. It also means you're an alcoholic. Like that's fucked up. But we've normalized alcohol. We've normalized drug use. It's like, well, what's the big deal? It's like, it's a fucking big deal, all right? If you can't not do it, you have a problem. That's the big deal. It's one thing if you don't have any obligations and you can just, lay poolside or just hang out in the middle of the woods and do whatever. You got nothing else going on, that's what you want to do, go for it. But if you know that this shit's going to crop up, don't do it. And if you can't not do it, then you have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, look, if a bottle of anything alcoholic is a part of your natural aesthetic, you got an issue there, and a lot of people think that they're functioning alcoholics.
No such thing.
And exactly, there's no such thing. That doesn't work. A lot of people feel like they know their level and know that they can control it and keep it in check. But it's like, why would you even chance that? There's so many different scenarios. You know, driving being one of the extreme, but so many other scenarios. You could, say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and everybody doesn't have that secret street rule of, oh, you take it easy on the drunk guy. No, there's very people out here that would love nothing better than to take advantage and beat the dog piss or worse out of somebody drunk.
Wait, Marcus, that's a rule.
Yeah,
I
apparently.
think I owe some people some apologies. In my defense, he puked on me first.
Oh,
Yeah, it's yeah. So I want Jimmy to get help. Like I don't want him fired. I don't want him thrown in jail for the rest of his life. But he needs to be fucking. There needs to be a limit. Like even Jeff what was essentially told like, you're done. Like Jeff got caught twice, I think, in 2002 and then into 2003, and they're like, you're fired.
yeah,
What do you want us to do? Like you keep fucking up. And then in 2009, now granted, take this as a rumor because I heard it at the time. I can't source it. I don't remember who said it. But he left the company after SummerSlam or what was it, Night of Champions or whatever the fuck the September show was.
yeah.
I think it was like the week after SummerSlam he left. He didn't debut in TNA until January 4th, 2010. There were talks up until October or November of him getting another contract with the WWE, but then he got arrested for having like an entire candy store of drugs in his house. And then they're like, ooh, and all of a sudden the contract was gone. Now that's a
Yeah,
rumor. I don't know how true it is, but
yeah.
I'd buy it.
Shout out to all the ones that this won't go over their head. There were no more words for what was going on. But
Didn't
it's
Lost Profits do No More Words?
I
No,
don't know.
no,
It was,
because
it,
they wouldn't have brought back No More Words for Jeff when he came back a
yeah,
couple years
it was.
ago.
I forgot who it was Ever Endeavor or something.
Endeavor Everett. Listen, I like me some mid to late '90s alt rock jam sessions, but like some of the names, man, were fucking dumb. And granted, like it's just some of the names are like really terrible. Like, I think he's a cool dude. Like, don't get me wrong, but like Little Nas X, like, what?
Yeah, some of
Why?
these. Yeah, if there's more one more little something baby, this little baby that is just it's the creativity is lost.
I will say
Uh,
this, and I'm not just saying this because I want to do things with her physically, but like Doja Cat has a name. Like that's a name. Like
yeah, man,
that's a
Doja,
name.
man,
That's a name.
she she's annoying at a lot at certain points, but then there's certain points where she shines, and like, oh, okay, I get it.
I just like
Uh,
her voice. Like I don't even care. Like, yeah, all right, yeah, just sing in my ear. No, it's cool. I'm into it.
Also, for a long time, I had a crush on Tinashe. Um,
That may be one that I have to go and look up.
yeah, yeah, you know, like, oh, the dead silence. He doesn't know. Like this, this is
And
not working out like the porn thing did. But yeah, we were straight going Uno draw four on that one. But,
how do you spell it? Tanesea? Ten. Nope, that's not
yeah,
even T A
yeah,
N.
Tinashe, like Tina she, but
Tin.
she,
Okay, okay.
yeah, but she pronounced,
Oh yeah. Oh, she's a
yeah,
smoker though, Marcus.
yeah,
I'm out.
damn, we have, and I don't like smokers either. Like I almost throw something at the screen when I find out a chick's a smoker and like a blunt smoker too. Like, fuck.
Like any kind. Like I don't care if it's vape or cigarettes or joints or whatever. It's like, nah, I'm good. I'm out.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Here's
it's
another bad name, Charlie XCX. What is that?
yeah.
What are you doing? Who named you
Yeah,
that?
speaking of, have you who's that? FKA Twigs?
Oh yeah, I have heard of. Yes, that's a
Yeah.
terrible name.
'Cause I was watching this DC show on YouTube that be covering the movies and the news and stuff of it, and one of the dudes was like, "Who is this?" My girlfriend was talking to me about this new artist. Who is this fucker Twigs?
Fucking twigs.
You know the fucker Twigs. Oh, that was
Fuck
hilarious.
twigs. I love
But
that. Yeah, I heard about her because she was in some kind of relationship with Shia LaBeouf.
yeah, it's yeah. The Wit legacy is not on it.
I remember he's like, I retired from acting, and then he was in that fucking Brad Pitt tank movie. I was like, what?
I was like, and not. I think it was a couple months ago that they brought on Holes. I was like, look, this brilliance.
Okay,
Brilliant.
I've gotten to a point with most things where I can accept terrible people in good things because, like, I'm not going to stop watching certain shows or movies because one person fucked it up, right? Holes is one of those movies. Like, I will watch Holes. Holes is great. Dule Hell.
Yes, I can fix that. Yes, you can.
Yeah, I bet you can. With that black.
Those spice pages.
So yeah, let's go to some chippier news. Some names we don't have to make fun of. Although, if someone were to tell me Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, those are some terrible ass names, I'd be like, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. They're not
Speaking
great.
speaking of black though,
This is a whole heaping mountain of Hershey chocolate right here, my friend.
Big E.
Unfortunately, we know what Xavier Woods is rocking with, and he doesn't qualify.
Up, up, down, down.
Contra code you do not have, sir. So apparently they were named the top tag team in the history of the WWE. On the final chapter of WWE's 50 Greatest Tag Teams Unlimited Series on Peacock and WWE Network, the trio of Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E were revealed as the team at the top of the list. Collectively, the New Day has won 11 tag team championships across Raw and SmackDown. They were named the Tag Team of the Year at the WWE's Year-End Awards in 2019. Pro Wrestling Illustrated has honored them as Tag Team of the Year in both 2015 and 2016. I think they should have been nominated or won again in 2018, but that I had to double check. The rest of the top 5 included the Hardy Boys, the Hart Foundation, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys. Now, Big E says something like, I know many will disagree, but being named is grateful, massive, blah, blah, blah. I don't see, it's like, a lot of times, Marcus, I'm like, really, when it comes to these lists. But, like, I don't disagree. Like, if you want to talk about just longevity and accolades and impact and popularity, if they're not number one in each of those categories, they're in the top 3. And I don't know anyone else who is in the top 3. Like the Hardy Boys have longevity and impact, but like they were never like, maybe they were the merch movers in like the early aughts, but like the New Day were just like fucking Disney merch movers. Like they were moving shit left and right, and just the dumbest shit. Unicorn horns, terrible cereal, dumb shirts. I'm pretty sure, what did that? Trombone sales went up for a couple of years. Just because of the New Day. They're incredibly talented. They've got 11 titles. I don't know if that's the top. I think it's the top of the WB. They have the longest reigning titles in at least one of the championship categories, maybe in company history, I think. Because they've had like 12 different tag team titles in that company, and fucking nonsense. But I think they have like 400 plus days, which broke the demolition record, if I remember correctly. So like what else do they have to do to earn that spot? They've been around since 2013, 2014.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, those guys were put together specifically because nothing was going on with them individually, and they literally got put together to not work as a group.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they damn near had that almost like that Funkasaurus beginning where it's like, oh, what is this gonna be? Oh, what is this gonna be? And then you go, oh, hell no. And then they had this choir uh scenario, and I remember them vignettes, and then them standing outside the ring watching matches. It had a beginning like we see with a lot of these tag teams throughout this torturous history of this company, but they just held on to each other, man, and just kind of rode it until they were just undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
And they also haven't broken up.
That's
There was
important.
never There was never turmoil. There was never, and I'm pretty sure there was instances where they wanted to break them up or wanted to turn them because Vince can't let anything go good worth a damn for a long period of time. But I think a lot of that had to do with they were almost Cena-like in their merch movement, the way he couldn't justify breaking them up
Mm-hmm.
properly. So they literally beat all the odds, man. And they, the fact that Kofi ended up as world champion, I mean WWE heavyweight champion, with them as tag team champions for feels like the upteen time. They've had show stealer matches with the Usos and whatnot. Um, yeah, they've just over succeeded at every possible level. WWE in these lists are always biased with two capital B's, but you can't argue with this. You can't argue with this. There was never Woods. I mean, I still remember him as Consequences Creed, right?
Me too.
See, Kofi, it looked like his career literally peaked in that 2009 feud with Orton, and maybe biggest thing E did besides the stuff he did in NXT was accidentally almost knocked the piss out of AJ on live TV.
Yep. AJ Lee, not Styles.
Yeah, yeah. Um, AJ Lee. So it's just miraculous, man. I'm pretty sure they've done it already, but they really do need to do like one of those WWE specials from the beginning to the peak of their success, because it's nothing short of guts, ingenuity, and like everybody around us. I mean, they had the Big Show telling Kofi like, "What are you hanging around these guys for? They're gonna drag you down." The Big Show
Talk
of
about
all
being
people.
talk about being dragged down. I think the interesting thing is they've all found their peak. Like Kofi was the first black WB champion, first 100% pure black WB champion, because The Rock is technically half black, and that
Yeah.
was a big deal. The fact that it was a big deal, kind of sad. The fact that it took them 50 years, even more sad. But after Kofi, Lashley, not 2 years later, gets the belt. So, like, progress. Maybe he got the belt. Maybe he got a different belt. He got a belt. I don't know what belts are fucking anymore. Like, you got a red belt, you got a blue belt, you got a black belt, you got a white belt, you got a fucking yellow belt. There's a butterfly belt somewhere. There's a broken belt with scotch tape on it. They all have Velcro for some godforsaken fucking reason. Fucking hate those belts. But, like, Kofi, WWE champion. Xavier Woods probably doesn't get up, down, down off the ground without the New Day's popularity. And then he gets a job on the revitalized G4. And I would give that credit all towards his popularity within the New Day. No New Day, no G4 job. And then Big E's being kind of positioned to be the next guy. So he hasn't hit his peak yet, but he's on his way. So, that's because of the New Day. And it's not like this is like a new thing. Like the Road Warriors never broke up, really. They had a few incarnations, but they were always still, Hawk and Animal. The Freebirds, maybe not the best comparison considering there's 3 black dudes and 3 southern dudes with the stars and bars. But they were together for a long fucking time. So, like, this wasn't like a new thing, but it hasn't been done in this company for a while. Now, I will say this. I do think they're arguably WWE's best tag team ever. I don't think they're pro wrestling's best tag team ever, though I would put them in the top 10. But you got to remember, now we're talking not just the Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian, which I think are overrated WWE tag teams to begin with. But now you're talking about the Dudley Boys outside of WWE as well, with ECW and Impact. And you're also talking about the Steiner Brothers, talking about Harlem Heat, talking about Legion of Doom. Like there's some teams out there, AMW, let's call them BMW. Beer Money, the Motor City Machine Guns. Like, I don't want to say them, but I'm going to say them. The Briscoe brothers have been doing it for a while. Like, there are a lot of teams out there that I think deserve to be in the conversation of the greatest tag team of all time. And wait, we're just talking North American here. We're not talking about Mexico. We're not talking about New Japan or All Japan. We're not talking about those guys yet. Like, we're not even bringing up the Young Bucks. Where do they fit? Because like, all right, yeah, New Day moved merch. Young Bucks made indie wrestling not just sustainable for a career, but profitable. So there's a lot of teams at the top of that overall arc, but WWE, yes, I would say that they're, if not one, at the very least 2 or 3. Like they deserve to be at the top of this list. I'm curious to see what they look like in 5 years when the group is finally done, but
yeah.
Because it's one of those things like, I think about like BJ Penn or Kevin Randleman, if you know who they are. These were dudes in MMA that had great starts to their careers. But then they held on too long. Randleman just couldn't get wins, and he was a big guy. He was 240 pounds of jacked up steroid muscles. But after like 2002, wins came very rare for him. BJ Penn, after 09, like, he went on like a 12-fight, 10-fight losing streak, and it's like, New Day needs to finish their run as a group almost better than they started it. I don't know if they can naturally hit another peak in terms of success, like, outside of like wins and losses, but in the win columns, they have to still be persistent and consistent. So otherwise, it will taint their image. And so that's kind of the problem with naming an active team the best. Like, now there's an expectation.
Yeah, and you don't want to go the way of the Shield where they just ran it into the ground too many times with reunions nobody asked for.
And not just reunions nobody asked for, but reunions with matches that were bad. Like, that's the greatest sin of all. Unentertaining matches. Speaking of great sins, Selena Vega no longer believes in unionism.
Go figure.
Shocking. Now, I think unions are a great thing in most walks of life. I don't necessarily think they're great for a profession like pro wrestling, because with so much opportunity out there, with we'll call them mid-major promotions, the promotions you can go get $500,000 for, to do a match. I don't think unions will help those promotions survive. But on the flip side, WWE has had a just terrible track record with protecting talent. So I understand why people are like, well, WWE needs a union. I don't disagree with that, but I don't think everyone needs a union. But it's a very tumultuous situation. There's a lot of ups and downs, pros and cons. But if you're going to take a stand, I say take a stand. I don't like flip-floppers. It's one thing to change your mind when you have been given new evidence and you have an open sensibility. Like, let's say I have never had a corn dog stuffed with bacon and hot dogs. Like it's a hot dog with a piece of bacon wrapped around it, baked in cornmeal. Maybe I'm like, oh, that sounds gross. I've never tried it, so I don't really know. So one day I try, I'm like, oh my God, I'll let my heart stop for this deliciousness. This is fantastic. Because I allowed myself to have a different opinion. But I feel like when you're taking a moralistic stand, I don't think you have room to change your mind. Marcus, I am against drunk driving. If tomorrow I go, you know what, drunk driving's fine, that's most likely because I have been drinking and driving. If you're for unions, then you delete your tweets about unions and show back up on the company that fired you for tweeting about unions. I'm going to start to think that maybe you aren't as pro-union as you thought. Any thoughts on that?
Oh man, I mean we've seen people Fred Astaire on the backpedaling when it comes to Twitter.
Great reference. Oh my God.
Well, specifically in this company, heavy man. The habitual tweet and deleter from these quote unquote hardcore wrestlers, and it's not by no means saying she ever presented herself as to be this tough chica or whatever, or hard ass via social media or even in real life, but it is telling, man, that when people can kind of be moved off their squares, so to speak, when it comes to um, things that you would feel like the energy that they gave it when it initially came up, but like I said, they kind of was moved off of for whatever final reason. It is telling when these tweets get deleted, because as we talked about before, it's never really deleted. You don't delete it. In fact, the minute you tweet it, it's snapshot by somebody. It's it's interesting, but I mean, if she got what she wanted, maybe she very much still feels like it. I mean, we've had conversations talking about all these people having to issue these apologies. They don't mean them.
Mm-hmm.
Narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the guys is at the third and apologies, smooth things over and get you back in good graces, so on and so forth. So, if that she falls into that category of people we talk about all the time. This company, no matter how abusive it is to its performers, this company is their dream. Has been their dream since they was bright eyed and bushy tailed, and now they back in the middle of it, just wagging it. So
I know 2 songs about Fred Astaire. Just throwing that one out there. Random fact of the night. One is by San Cisco. The other one was by Lucky Boys Confusion. They're both good. Speaking of good, let's talk about Impact. It's good. I should probably note this. Hang on. Let's see. We'll go 38-15. That's a. No, we'll go 38-20. So this is making an impact.